All right, get ready to dive into Crystal Lake with us, because today we're tackling Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
Oh, yeah. This one is a wild ride.
Definitely not your typical summer camp slasher.
Nope.
This time we've got a final girl with telekinetic powers, Jason back from the depths, and a whole lot of creative kills.
They have the ante with the gore on this one for sure.
So to set the stage, we're 10 years after young Tina Shepard accidentally caused her father's death.
Using her powers, right.
Right, with her uncontrolled telekinesis. Now she's back at Crystal Lake, haunted by that guilt.
Ooh, heavy stuff.
And trying to understand these abilities she has.
I bet. That would mess you up.
To make matters worse, there's a doctor.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Cruz.
Dr. Cruz, who is more interested in exploiting Tina's powers than actually helping her.
Classic mad scientist vibes.
Total mad scientist.
Throwing a wrench in everything.
But hold on, because while all this is going on,
Uh-oh.
a group of teenagers shows up next door, ready for a birthday bash.
Of course.
It's like they're playing with us, right?
Oh, they know what they're doing.
Those classic slasher tropes.
Yeah.
The jock, the nerd, the shy girl.
Setting us up.
You know, Jason's got something special planned for her.
Oh, yeah. This is Friday the 13th, after all.
Exactly. And all of this is happening with Crystal Lake as the backdrop.
The perfect setting.
I mean, for fans of the series, Crystal Lake is basically another character at this point.
It's iconic.
Right. So we've got telekinetic Tina, a shady doctor, unsuspecting teenagers, and Crystal Lake brooding in the background.
A recipe for disaster.
Where do we even go from here? What makes The New Blood stand out?
Well, I think it's the way this film tackles the whole idea of power. You've got Tina's telekinesis, this raw, untamed force that both terrifies and attracts her.
And then there's Dr. Cruz.
Oh, yeah. Representing that corrupting influence of power, how it can be used to manipulate and control others.
Right. And of course, you can't forget Jason.
Oh, absolutely not. He's the ultimate embodiment of brute force. Just relentless evil.
Like a triangle of power, all these forces clashing.
Exactly. And Tina's caught right in the middle, trying to navigate those different forms of power, both within herself and in the world around her. That struggle, I think that's what makes her such a compelling character.
It's like she becomes a conduit for all of it.
Right.
And as the story unfolds, those forces are definitely going to collide.
In some pretty spectacular and gruesome ways.
Let's just say Jason does not hold back in The New Blood.
Oh, no, he doesn't. This is where we get the classic Friday the 13th goods.
The kills are creative.
Oh, yeah.
Brutal.
Absolutely.
And definitely not for the faint of heart.
Not at all.
This one does not shy away from the gore.
It embraces it.
Friday the 13th at its most visceral. But there's also a real sense of suspense here. A slow burn that leads up to those explosive moments of violence.
The filmmakers know how to play with our expectations.
They know we're waiting for those kills.
Absolutely.
And they make us wait, ratcheting up the tension with every creaky door and rustling bush.
Every little sound makes you jump.
Speaking of those kills, are there any that stand out as particularly memorable?
Oh, there are a few, for sure. The one with the party horn. I mean, talk about going out with a bang. And then there's the poor guy who gets an axe to the face.
Oof.
Pure Friday the 13th gold.
Definitely. But what sets The New Blood apart is how Tina's telekinesis comes into play. We're not just watching Jason hack and slash his way through victims. This final girl can fight back.
She's not just a victim.
And she can manipulate the environment to her advantage.
She's a game changer.
Imagine Tina facing off against Jason,
Yeah.
using her powers to hurl objects at him, creating force fields, even ripping the house apart.
It's like a superhero movie.
Right.
It's one of the most visually striking and exciting showdowns in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Telekinetic powers versus brute force, and they really went all out with the special effects. It's cheesy, it's over the top, but it's so entertaining.
They took the slasher genre and infused it with pure adrenaline. And with Tina's powers in the mix, you really don't know who's going to come out on top.
That's what keeps you on the edge of your seat. You're rooting for Tina to survive, to overcome that trauma and defeat Jason. But you also know that Jason is like a force of nature, practically indestructible. It's a battle for the ages.
Absolutely.
And the stakes couldn't be higher.
Right. It's not just the spectacle, though.
Oh. What else makes it so special?
This showdown on a deeper level, it's a clash between two characters who are both defined by their past traumas.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Tina, she's haunted by accidentally causing her father's death.
Right.
While Jason, he's driven by that memory of his own drowning.
So they're both fighting these inner demons while also going head-to-head with each other.
Exactly. And that adds so much complexity to their confrontation.
Yeah, it's like their past is fueling their powers in a way.
Almost as if they're both trapped in these cycles of pain and violence,
Yeah.
unable to escape those horrors that shape them. Okay, so we've covered the characters, the themes, this epic showdown. But what about the overall feel of the movie? Does this still have that classic Friday the 13th vibe?
Oh, it definitely does. We get all the elements. Fans love the creepy atmosphere, the suspense building up slowly, those gruesome kills, and of course the iconic hockey mask.
But it also brings something new to the table.
Yeah.
The telekinesis and that deeper exploration of the character's psyches.
It's a great blend of the familiar and the unexpected, for sure. Director John Carl Buechler really managed to put his own stamp on the franchise, but still stay true to its roots.
Speaking of John Carl Buechler, he's known for his special effects work on movies like Reanimator and Troll.
Oh, yeah, he's a legend. He brought all that practical effects experience to The New Blood.
I bet.
And it shows. The gore effects are top-notch. They really pushed the boundaries for what was okay to show on screen back then.
I can only imagine what it was like on set with all that fake blood and prosthetics.
Oh, it must have been a mess. But a fun mess. You can tell everyone involved was really passionate about this project. Even with all that over-the-top violence, there's a sense of artistry and craftsmanship in how it was made.
Totally. And you can't forget Lar Park Lincoln's performance as Tina.
She's amazing, brings a real vulnerability and strength to the role. You totally believe her as this traumatized teen who's also capable of unleashing incredible power.
Yeah, and she's got great chemistry with Kevin Spirtus, who plays Nick.
The love interest, right?
Yeah.
They make a great pair. You're really rooting for them to make it out alive. And we can't forget about Terry Kaiser as Dr. Cruz.
Oh, man, he is so perfectly slimy.
Yeah.
You just know he's up to no good from the second he appears on screen.
He nails that manipulative doctor role, and he brings a lot of the dark humor the film is known for.
Yeah, there's some genuinely funny moments in The New Blood.
Yeah.
Which is a nice break from the tension and the gore.
It's a delicate balance, but they pull it off. It's scary, it's suspenseful, and it's funny.
All right, so we've talked about all the good stuff, but were there any parts of The New Blood that didn't quite work for you?
Well, like a lot of horror movies, it does rely on some of those classic horror tropes.
Like characters making dumb decisions, the ones that get them killed.
Exactly. Why would you wander off alone when you know there's a killer on the loose?
Right.
Or investigate a weird noise in the dark? It's like they're asking for it. But to be fair, those tropes are part of what makes slashers so fun.
True, it wouldn't be the same without them.
And even though some of the characters make some iffy choices, they're still likable and well-developed enough that you actually care what happens to them.
So it's not just mindless gore. There's a real heart to the film.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what makes The New Blood stand out from a lot of other slashers. It's not just about the scares, it's about the characters and their journeys.
Okay, so we've discussed the characters, the kills, the themes, the overall vibe. Now, what about that ending? Does it wrap things up nicely or leave you wanting more?
The ending of The New Blood is definitely one of the most talked about parts of the film.
Why is that?
Because it's a real head-scratcher. It gives you more questions than answers. Without giving too much away, let's just say Tina's father plays a big part in that final showdown with Jason.
What? I don't remember that at all.
It's a twist that you might miss on the first viewing, but it's there, and it adds a whole other layer of meaning to the film's themes of grief, guilt, and redemption.
So there's more to it than meets the eye.
For sure. It's open to interpretation, and it's caused a lot of debate among fans about what it means for Tina and the future of the franchise.
That's what I love about a good horror movie. It sticks with you after it's over. It makes you think and question things.
The New Blood does that, for sure. It's not just a mindless slasher. It's a film that has something to say about trauma, power, what it means to be human.
So all in all, how would you rate Friday the 13th, Part 7? The New Blood?
I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5 stars. It's a creative, entertaining, and surprisingly thought-provoking entry in the Friday the 13th franchise.
I'm with you on that. It's got everything you could want from a Friday the 13th movie. Great kills, suspenseful atmosphere, likable characters, and a twist ending that keeps you guessing.
Definitely a must-watch for any fan of slashers, especially those who like a little depth and originality in their horror.
So we're left with Tina. She survived Jason, but those powers are out in the open now.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think happens to her after the credits roll? Like, does she ever really find peace?
It's the big question, right?
Yeah.
The movie doesn't really give us a clear answer. We see her in that ambulance. She's exhausted, but maybe finally free of some of that guilt.
Maybe.
But then we get that shot of Jason's mask.
Oh, yeah.
Like a reminder that the danger might not be completely gone.
A glimmer of hope, but with some serious dread mixed in.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes the ending so powerful. We don't know for sure what Tina's future holds. Can she ever escape what happened at Crystal Lake? Or will she always be tied to it?
It really gets you thinking about how trauma can impact your life, even after you think you've faced your fears.
It also brings up this question about power itself. Tina's telekinesis is incredible, but it's also a huge burden.
Yeah.
It makes her different, makes her a target. Can she ever truly control it and use it for good? Or will it always be something to be afraid of?
Man, I love that the movie doesn't wrap everything up in a neat little bow.
Me too.
It's messy,
Yeah.
complicated, just like real life.
And it shows how powerful these Friday the 13th movies are. They play on our fears, but they also explore deeper stuff like survival, resilience, and how we deal with our inner demons.
So even with all the gore and classic slasher stuff,
Yeah.
there's a real emotional core to The New Blood.
100%. That's what makes it better than a lot of other horror films out there. It's not just about scaring you. It's about the characters and what they go through, facing your fears and finding the strength to move on.
Well said. So to sum up our deep dive into Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, we're giving it a 4 out of 5.
A solid 4.
With a unique premise, those memorable kills, and characters that are way more complex than you expect.
Definitely a must-watch for any slasher fan, especially those who like their horror with a little substance.
Now it's your turn. What did you think of The New Blood? Did Tina's powers change things up for the franchise? What do you think happens to her after the movie ends? Let us know in the comments.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to The Deep Dive for more deep dives into your favorite horror movies.